I've known Steve for not a short time. For 66 years, we have been with Steve. From the time that we went to class 1 in 1955 to the time that he played his last game of golf less than a week before. And we have always been together. Whether we are in the same place or not, we are still together. I have known Mwiti to be a person who I really find it difficult to describe this man. I should have had the language of Marekia. We had gone to school together, and from around 1964, when we were in high school, we bonded so much that during the holidays, we would sleep in the same bed with Mwiti. We did that up to Form 6, and then we became roommates at the University College in Nairobi. I've heard many say that he went to the University of Nairobi. When we went to university, there was no University of Nairobi. There was a University of East Africa. We had only one university, and we were in the University College in Nairobi. But in 1970, it became an autonomous university, and so that is where we finished, at the University of Nairobi, as you rightfully said. Now, Mwiti was an extremely consistent person. Consistent in that if he started on a journey, he would walk it to the end. And there is nobody else to exemplify that character of Mwiti than his relationship with Jennifer. Jennifer mentioned that Mwiti used to pay attention to her when she was in class 6. He couldn't date her. He couldn't tell her that he loved her. But he stuck on until she got to an age where he could date her. But I knew his interest in Jennifer. And when he started dating, it was consistent. I'll say that for the record here, if there is anybody who has been passing any rumors around, Mwiti has never told me he loves another woman apart from Jennifer in his entire life. And there is nothing that Mwiti did that he didn't tell me. She has been the only one. I hope she knew that. She didn't, of course, but I knew that that is how consistent he was. But when you want to do things like that, things do turn up. I remember Jennifer mentioned in her eulogy that Mwiti almost lost his life at Kangeta. She forgot 1 or 2 points. That on the 26th of August 1973, when we left university, of course, in our first year, we bought cars. Mwiti bought a Subaru FF1. So those young men who are running around thinking they are the ones who have invented the Subarus, Mwiti bought one. And I bought a Toyota Sports Saloon, a car that had only 2 doors, and the windows that used to open like the wings of an aeroplane. And we would speed around. On the 26th, he was coming from Gong, past the Bombers, and by the time he got to this game place, there was somebody right in the middle of the road. Mwiti was flying. he hit that pickup so hard that it became a U. Those days, there were no seat belts, there were no airbags. So Mwiti hit that steering so hard that it broke to pieces. Anybody who saw that car, and I saw the car, we all thought whoever was driving that car must have died on the spot. Mwiti spent only 2 days at Nairobi Hospital, and he was discharged. Now there was panic. This is where Jennifer comes in. There was panic that the boyfriend has died. And so I had to calm things and tell Mwiti, you must come immediately. On that Saturday, which was September the 1st, he came all right with 2 agendas. One, to reassure Jennifer that he was there. And second, now, to come here and reassure the father because the family was also very distraught. He has lost his car, but of course he has a car because I had a car. The following morning, we decided we would dash to Maua and come back. We dashed to Maua, all right. We found Jennifer. We went for a soda or 2 and maybe some chips, I can't remember. And while we were there, one of the neighbors here, Solomon Mwendia, joined us. They were coming from the game lodge. He had his combi. We told them we can't stay with you, we are rushing back. So we took off. When we got to Njia, that time the road was another road. I started cruising down. The next thing I heard was a car floating in the air. It jumped over a road bank, it didn't touch it, and landed in Mashamba. So I asked him, wait, are you hurt? He asked me, are you hurt? I tell him, no. I tell him, let's get out then. We got out and we dragged the car. We got the people to drag the car to the chief's camp. Now the 2 cars were gone. And now we were to wait on the road, and those days there was no public transport. So the people we thought we are in a hurry are the ones who came to our rescue. And we stopped them first. They passed us because they didn't expect we were at Kangeta. Then they took us. They stopped and took us. When we got to Ncheru, that hill as you descend to Meru University, Mwendia is cruising on a combi, and he shouts to us, the brakes are gone. That's the same day. So we cruised down and we could see our end so clearly because at the end of that street, there is a right-hand turn. And we knew there is no way we are avoiding rolling there. We came by the grace of God, because this was Satan now seeking Mwiti. By the grace of God, we made the corner. And we said we stop at Kiendero so that I could take my father's car and we proceeded to Meru town. That time the story has gone to Maua to say that the 2 fellows are dead. And the one who is more dead than the other one is a smaller one, trying to hit at Jennifer. So we went, I picked my father's car, I told him we got in, and from my home down here, you climb like that. This is a car I'm not used to. I'm not used to this gear shift of the hand here, up here.
Please, Professor.
Yes,
Speak,
I'll finish. And when we got up, the car stopped. And it started rolling back. I tried the brakes, they were not there. I tried the handbrake, it came out the whole of it. And I gave it to Mwiti. And we turned. We had that problem. one whole week, and 3 times on one day, with Steve as a common denominator. We returned the car to the house and we said we are walking, and if we hear any vehicle on the road, we get into the bush. And that's how we got Mwiti to cut a long story short, that's how we got Mwiti now back to Nairobi. He has not even reported it to the parents, and the story will come. So I had a miserable week. If Jennifer, you remember, I had a miserable week being harassed. That was Satan, the devil who wanted Steve. God had told him he would protect Steve, and actually with all those accidents, Steve had no injuries. But then we moved fast to 2021, 28th of August. By the way, we are talking about August all through, if you have noticed. 28th of August, Steve went to bed singing a hymn that I sang last night, and the Lord took him peacefully, not the way that Satan